Hi everyone, GrayPower60 here. Welcome to a Tea With Me Tuesday. I've decided I was going to come in and chat with you every Tuesday while I enjoy my cup of tea. I hope you have your own cup of tea or coffee or whatever beverage you prefer. A couple of things I want to talk about today, and one of them is sparked by a comment that I got on one of my videos, and it was concerning the whole grieving process and so on, and things that I've gone through, and I think they misunderstood who I am as a person, as a mother, as an elderly woman. And I guess I want to share some information so that there isn't any either concern or misconceptions about me and my life. I've always been fiercely independent. I have tried as a single mom to raise my children to be independent thinkers, street smart. When you're a single mom raising children, you try to do the best you can. You hope you're doing the best you can. And as they grow up, have children and families of their own, you see places where you have succeeded in helping them become independent, strong individuals and parents themselves. And I have noticed that I have been very fortunate that both of my son and my daughter have become wonderful adults, parents, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that, and I praise them for that. The thing that worries me, that may be a misconception because of what I have been through in, say, the past 10 years of my life, which became a total upheaval, caring for my mother all those years, helping my son adjust to, his life. And I'm not going to get into any details at all, simply to say sometimes a mother and her child can be too codependent on each other. I think I was dependent on him to help me through the stress part, and I was dependent on him for being, needing help, whether it be financially or through other ways, helping him struggle through things he's had to struggle through in his life. And sometimes there gets to be a point when, as a parent, as a mom, because I don't know what it's like for dads, so I'm going to talk totally from my point of view. There comes a point in time when your children may depend on you too much, when you may be too helpful to them. And I had a conversation a couple of years ago with someone who said to me, to the effect, well, they're grown up now. I mean, I'm totally screwing this up, but basically what she was saying is, that's their life now. It's their issue. They have to deal with it their way. Whatever difficulty our children go through as adults, we always want to help them. We always want to be there for them, to be their rock, to be their and to be needed. I guess some people, I don't, but some people, as we get older, feel the absolute need to be needed, to be wanted, to be all of those things. And that's true of me as well. I want to be wanted and needed, but not to the point where it becomes a dependency. And I think that some people feel or project to me that my son leaving may be I may be lost, I may be miserable, which is totally the contrary, absolutely, totally. It's a weight lifted off my shoulders in that he is now living a life that he chose to live, that he wants to be. He is a good hard worker. He is a good father, a good husband, and does not need his mother to solve his problems. He and his wife, his family unit, can do that on their own. And I think with our closeness for a while, it became where he did depend on my opinions and where I had to hold back and allow him to make his own decisions. And I mean, ultimately, he always did make his own decisions, don't get me wrong, but I think his dependence on me as being a strong woman and him used to being raised by a woman who made her own way, carved her career, worked for a pension, tried to do my best to help my daughter when she needed a babysitter, my son when he needed me for one thing or another. I mean, do you know what I mean? As we become parents and grandparents, we are there for them, but there comes a time when we have to set boundaries, I guess is what I'm saying. And I never really set boundaries for my son. I always was there for him, always. I was always a shoulder to lean on. I was always there for him whenever he needed to speak to anybody about anything, which is a bond between a mom and a son that cannot be, I don't know, it can't be broken. It can't be broken. We have a very close bond. However, being the kind of person that I am, I don't need him to need me. I need him because I'm not going to be here forever. I'm going to die. Everybody dies. We all die. I'm not going to be here forever, and I want to be sure that he can stand on his own 2 feet, that my daughter can stand on her own 2 feet, that they can carve their own life, their own place in the world without depending on me. And I'm proud to say that they can and do exactly that. And I don't need them to validate my position as their mother. I don't need it because I've always had it. I've always, I've known where the boundaries are. I've known where I can walk and where I can't walk. A problem between a husband and a wife is that their problem, not mine. I don't know their dynamics. I don't know. And I know a lot of mothers, maybe fathers too, that get too involved to a point where it gets to be resented by their partners or by their children or by friends or whatever, and I think it's important to let you know that I love the fact that my son has gone on a wonderful adventure to start a new life in a new place and make new friends and carve his place in the world. And I'm proud of him, and I will always be here for an ear to listen. But there comes a time when if mistakes are made, he needs to make them. He needs to correct those himself. When my daughter needs to do something, she doesn't need to come to me to fix anything. She's quite capable of doing that on her own. And I think when I started agreeing to pick up my son after work and bring him to work because, it was difficult for him to always either financially or the ability to get a ride home. And the reason it started very innocently with my mom always wanted to go out for a drive every day. So I coincided her need to get out and about with the need to pick up my son after work, which was usually, before 5 o'clock at night. So it was usually in the later afternoon. And that became kind of a dependency, but it also gave him a chance to be with my mom and to enjoy his time with her as well, because his grandmother was always there for him. And I thought it was important to kind of combine all of those things. So as it turned out, it became what was supposed to be a temporary few times to pick him up from work became a daily habit. And it simply helped me as well, because he could talk to mom and distract her and give me a chance to kind of have, that quiet time that I needed. So there was kind of a codependency there where I needed to be able to, have him share my time with mom, as well as he needed me to pick him up from work and bring him home, so he had a ride home. So that kind of developed over time when we shared moments of, worry, and from his side, whether it be, family issues or work issues, we shared things together. And on my part, sharing, what's new with mom and what I'm having difficulty with, and what do you think I should do? That kind of, those conversations were very, very important to me. And so it became a permanent thing for a couple of years where I would do that. And like I say, it was really helpful when I had mom and we were going through very, very difficult times, especially towards the end when she had trouble communicating. It got to the point where she had trouble speaking, but he always made her laugh. He always, when he came close to the car and she saw him coming, although she didn't know him in the end, like exactly the relationship, she'd always say, "Who's that handsome young man?" And I said, "Well, we're going to give him a ride home." Things that would help her be happy and would help me give a little calm in the storm when I spoke with him on a daily basis. So that's kind of how our last few years developed. Then mom passed, and he saw the grief I was going through, and we were going to move in together. That was the first initial discussion, is that they would move in with me for a couple of months, save some money so that we could get a house together, because he's always wanted a house, tired of living in apartments, and he wanted to live in a house. So that was the plan when he first moved in with me. On Halloween, October 31st, he moved in with me, but it became other issues. There were other things that came up, various things that came up that made it difficult for us to actually do that. So in seeking another way of life for them, because I need to be on my own, independent, I need to cut the ties of dependency. And I think his wife saw that as well, that he was too dependent on me for decision making or financial help or whatever, emotional help, whatever. And his wife was smart in seeing that. And they decided that they would move to another city, that it was a place where she felt comfortable because her best friend lived there. They could help them kind of, set the groundwork. Fortunately, where he worked, he could get a transfer to his job, and it would all go smoothly. And there have been bumps in the road. As I say, she left early to go and set up a home for them with my youngest grandson, who needed to start school in September. So they set out to do that. That was the plan, and he was to move in shortly after. Well, he did move on the anniversary, on Halloween, October 31st. He, with a friend, drove all of his furniture in a truck to the new city and start their new life. And I think some people thought that I would be so lonely and so grieving, and I miss him and so on. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, I miss him. He's my son. I miss him. But I have moved a lot in my life. I have had adventures in my life. I have done things without my mom and dad, depending on them for anything. Me and my husband, and then of course when he became my ex-husband, it was me and my children. We've had adventures. We've had our life. We've built a life, and now it's his turn to do that without me. And that is it's like when your child graduates from university and they now have foundation to build their life. That is when we are proud. That's when we praise them, when we thank God that they've made it this far and that they are now on the road to life, adult life. And I love being alone. I love the independence. I love the fact I can walk out of here, go have a shower, come out naked without having to worry about who's on the other side. Did I bring the proper clothes in? You know what I mean. Maybe you don't know what I mean, but silly things has brought my life back to me. And that's, I think, what I wanted to convey to you, was that I now have my life back. I no longer have to worry about my son. I worry about him, but being in the same vicinity, seeing him every single day, I am not getting involved in his married life, in his work life, in his family as a father life. And I don't feel that I should be there. And so now he is independent. They're doing great. He's got a great job. They love him there. Of course, they would love him. He's absolutely wonderful. He's a wonderful person with a great personality. And I just wanted to say that there comes a point in time when a parent needs to allow their children to become independent. And I did not see the codependency until they moved in with me. And I saw it right in front of my face, realizing that I was helping more than I should, and that they need to, when they fall on their face, they pick themselves up and they go on. When they succeed in something, they celebrate together. They don't need me to praise them for any of those things. So this whole video, I guess, is just saying I'm not the kind of mother that is afraid of life, or afraid to be alone, or afraid to venture out and do things. Not at all. I could, if I had money, I could easily book a flight and go somewhere and not in the least bit worry about it. I've done a lot of things alone in my life. I've traveled alone. I've worked without any support, maybe emotional support, but I did it all myself, you know, and I look back on my life and I did okay. You know, I had doubted a lot when I was going through the early 60s and so on, and first retiring, and wondered if I had done a good job. And I look back now, I look at my daughter and her family, I look at my son and his family. They're doing fine. They don't need me. I'll always be a phone call away for support, for emotional support, for celebrating any milestones that they go through, but they don't need me to function in the world. And I think some mothers expect their children to need them forever. I don't expect my children to need me forever. It's ridiculous. Um, I had to put my life on hold caring for my mom, which I treasure every single moment that she was with me. We got to know each other again. You know, I hadn't lived with my mom in 30 or more years. I mean, you know, I was left home when I was like 19, 20. And up until, you know, mom moved in with me, I was on my own and had to make my own decisions in life, had to make my own choices and live with those choices. And my children do the same thing. They have their own life, they make their own choices, and they live with the consequences of those choices, good or bad. That is life. I've already done that. Now it's their turn. You know, that's their legacy, is having a mom who loved them, worked hard, did the best she could, and it's time to be on your own, be your own. And the whole adventure of moving to me is exciting. I've always loved moving. I've always found it to be so, yes, stressful, sure, but you get to go through things and not and declutter. Get rid of stuff you don't want anymore, save the things that are precious to you, and then redecorate the new place you're moving into, and get to make new friends and get to see new sights and new things. And to me, that has always been an adventure. I've always loved it, you know. And to me, my son moving out of my apartment, the whole family, and moving to a new place is such an exciting adventure. You know, you don't move because you hate it. You move because you want to make a better life. You want to make something better for your life. You want to do something just for you. And that's maybe the best advice I can give to anyone, is that when you have to make a change in your life, instead of dreading it, instead of hating it, look on the possibilities. Look on the adventure that's ahead of you. It can be so uplifting. Oh yes, you're going to get obstacles. You're going to get bumps in the road. You're going to question your sanity sometimes. You know, you're going to be angry about something that happened. But if you just take a step back and look at the possibilities, it can be wonderful. It can be wonderful. And for me here, right now, it's wonderful. I feel like I'm back to my old self. I feel like I can walk out the door without a care in the world and go wherever I want to go. The possibilities are there, that the happiness is within. It's me. I am happy, you know, and I can't stress that enough. I don't know any other way of conveying it to you, that there comes a time, whether you are in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, there comes a time when boundaries must always, always be recognized and to be adhered to. And there comes a time when a mom has to push them out the door and say, fly. as a mother bird does to her children. There you go, fly. How you do it, when you do it, is up to you, you know. And this is what I hope that my children get from me, is that I did my best. You're grown up. You've come to a point in your life. Now it's time to fly, and it's time to let mommy get on with her life. And that's what I'm doing. So I hope you realize that, you know, I'm celebrating his independence. I'm not grieving his move that he's gone. He's not gone. I text him every day. I talk to him on the phone. You know, so I think that it's better to maintain your independence and your boundaries than allow codependency to develop, which, as I said, it did. But fortunately, it has moved on. And I'm no longer dependent on him to see what I was going through with Mom. And he is no longer dependent on me to make sure he's making the right decisions. That's between him and his wife, and that's what they're doing. And I'm happy for them. And now I can live my life any way I want, whatever I may choose to do. When I spoke about the sleeping, not being able to sleep, I mean, that has been going on for months and months and months. I mean, it has nothing to do with him leaving. This is something I've had to deal with for months. And my concern, I have to talk to my doctor about it. My concern is that it may have been part of the medication, because I don't take pills unless I absolutely have to take pills. And I think it may be, excuse me, it may be a side effect from my blood pressure pills. I've heard that it can create insomnia, etc. It may be that all of the goings on in the home and having a smaller place, worrying how they're going to do, worrying about all kinds of things, maybe that had something to do with my sleep. It has nothing to do with starting when he left. It has been going on for months and months and months. I'd be awake all night. My daughter works night shift as a nurse. I would text her 3 o'clock in the morning, how you doing, how's work and stuff, because I was wide awake. I think when my son and his family lived here, I was wide awake at night because it was quiet. It was quiet. And then when I slept during the day, they were quiet because I was sleeping, or somewhat quiet, so it was a lot of, things going on, and a lot of different issues going on that I had to deal with on a personal level. So, the sleep had nothing to do with my son leaving. It has been going on for months and months and months. And I would just get into a good, I've always slept well. It doesn't matter whether I'm up till 4 in the morning. I still sleep my 8-9 hours. I mean, always. I always get a good sleep, and I sleep well. It's just my time has been kind of all upside down. Anyway, guys, I hope that covers a lot of information that many of you have concerns about. The sleep thing has been going on for months and months. It's something that it's starting to, the stress of having a large family live in a small place, the stress of different personalities, the stress of emotional attachment, no matter how much, when you're living with your family, no matter how much you block your ears, you're still going to hear, the confrontations of the children and the parents, or the parents each other, or the kids each other, right? And I like a quiet, calm life. And when there was just me and Mom, we had a calm, quiet life. It was only the last year or two of her life that became very difficult when, her speech went, and her sometimes would question who I was. Um, all of the horrible things that you hear about with Alzheimer's, dementia, etc. Um, getting used to dealing with that, and making sure she was clean and fed, and blah blah blah. But there was just the two of us, and it was quiet. The only time that it wasn't quiet is when Mom was up and loved to watch TV and music and loved to dance to music and stuff like that. But I've led a quiet, at home, quiet life and loved it. Trust me, I loved it. And now that I am back, it's almost like I've been transported from back then. I'm back there again. I'm back there again. And the possibilities of what I can do at my age. Yes, I'm 74, but I'm not an invalid yet. I praise and thank, and I'm so grateful to God for allowing me to live this long, to have the life I've had, to have the pleasures I've had, and to continue. As I said before, I don't like to plan too far ahead. I don't like routine. I like to be able to just do it myself. As a little kid, when they, you want to help them get dressed. Well, Mommy, I can do it myself. Well, Mommy, I can do it myself. That's the way I feel. I can do anything I want myself. I was driving earlier today to a mall, and there was a library, a small library that was there, public library, and I knew it was there, but I really hadn't noticed it, and I'm thinking, it's been a while since I've been in a library or a bookstore, so I think that's something I could do. In my mind, someday I might just drop by and see what they've got. I also noted in the mall, and it's a double strip mall, and on one side there was a couple of stores like a Starbucks and everything had closed, and a couple of other stores, and new ones came in, and I'm thinking, I'm driving by these new stores. Why don't I stop in and see what are they selling? What are they doing? It's something to do, but it's also a way of, talking, communicating with people. So, there's always something that you can do if you're physically able, there's always something you can do in our life. We have so much to give, and I want to live in each moment. Today is a beautiful day. I've had a beautiful day. I met an old friend I hadn't seen in over 10 years, because she noticed I had a new car. That car is 10 years old. So she remembered my old car. It's been that long since I saw her, and it was wonderful. It was the hugs and the how you doing, and oh my God, you're so beautiful, and that's what makes life great. And that's what keeps me happy. Little moments in time makes me happy. And I hope it will give you encouragement to allow yourself to just be happy in the moment. You don't have to have grandiose plans. You don't have today's today. The present is the present. Tomorrow is gone. The future, not tomorrow. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow is the future, is what I meant to say. I don't know. I could drop dead tomorrow. I never want to say I was not happy today. I'm happy in myself, and I'm happy with my life. And I just want to convey that. There's no grieving here. There's no more grieving. I'm sad that Mama's gone. I'm sad that my son is gone. But look at the adventures they're on. My mom is with my dad now, with my cousins, my aunts, my grandmother, her grandmother. They're together. It's awesome. My son is creating a wonderful life for himself. My daughter is helping new moms enjoy their brand new babies. Life can't be any better than that. So I want to end this now that my tea is cold. And I did not mean to lecture. What I want to show you is that there's more to life than self-pitying. And there's more to life. Yes, we may have physical issues as we get older. Oh, aches and pains and crap. And you know what? It's okay. It's life. What's the best thing about today? The best thing is I met a friend I hadn't seen in a long, long time. I got in the elevator with a young girl and we exchanged a few chats before I got off on my floor, which is just one floor up, but I managed to get a little bit in there. It was snowing a little bit. It doesn't seem to stay long right now, but you can still see the grass, but there's a little bit of snow out there. Looking forward to those snowy days. What I'm hoping to do is bring you along on a couple of adventures that I go on. They may be boring to you, but just to show you, let's get out, let's do things, or let's stay home, watch a movie, maybe get in some crafting, maybe do laundry that I desperately need to do. But I think I would like to share my adventures with you, whatever they may be. And they may be boring. They may be, and I hope not condescending. I hope everyone realizes that life is too short to be sad all the time. I grieved my mom. I grieved her so desperately, with so much guilt and so much shame and so much I wish I could have, would have, should have. I went through almost a whole year of that until my son and I had decided that maybe we should all move in together because my grief was so deep and so long. And that's how the whole, maybe you should move in here for a little while, we'll save some money and move out in a house together. That was not God's plan. God's plan was to help my son create a new life for himself and his family, and I to get back to my roots, to get back to who I am as a person. Anyway, I'm sorry. I hope I didn't lecture. I hope you got something out of this. I hope you realize that, I miss my son to a certain degree. I mean, he's my baby boy, but he's 45 years old, He's a grown man. And I have been able to do things on my own, and he can do things on his own. My daughter's a grown woman. She's a nurse. She helps women with babies. My grandson's going to university. My other two grandsons are finishing school, and, they have their life, and I get to watch it. I get to observe it. I get to join in it on occasion. Joining in is better than being, expecting to be in. I would rather watch them from afar and be proud and be happy for them and be happy for me. Wow, I hope that covers everything. I was just a little concerned that some of you think that being alone is a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I can read a book, I can watch a movie, I can do my YouTube channel, I can do crafts, I can wash the floors, I can clean the house. I'm going to repaint the apartment. I've been here for almost 10 years and I think it's time for a repainting. I have some furniture. This is dark wood that you're sitting on here. It's a dresser that my son was going to throw out because a couple of drawers are broken. I thought it would be great table space for my crafts, and then ended up leaving it here in my bedroom because it fits everything right now, and it works for now, but I may paint it. What an adventure that's going to be. I have paint to do that, to match the rest. So, please don't feel sorry. Please don't think I'm sad. Please don't think I'm grieving. Please don't think I'm pitiful. I'm not. I'm happy. I'm totally happy. I must admit, even though I don't like to plan and I don't like routine, but I do have dreams and goals that I want to shoot towards. But they're not unattainable. They're just not right now, because I have other things that I want to accomplish. Anyway, I hope and pray that you realize that I'm happy. And there's nothing wrong with a 74-year-old woman living alone. I love it. I love the quiet. I love the fact that I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. It doesn't matter. I don't have to wash the bathtub out and the toilet and everything else every second Thursday of the month. I don't have to do that. I don't have to do anything. I can do whatever I please for me. And that's what I plan on doing. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. I'm sorry for lecturing, sorry for going on and on, but I was just a little concerned that I know that some moms are very, very attached to their children, and maybe too much so, but it's not my place to say. I am not. I love my children. I worship the ground they walk on. However, I don't need to be needed. I need to be loved. And that's all. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining me. See you next time. Bye for now.